Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Beyond the Summit. We've got some Sina Cup action for y'all tonight. Then we're going to have some Star Ladder coming up later. I'm Zyori, this guy's K-Pop Tosis, and we've got a duo in the studio, man.
We've got a slumber party is what this is. We've got a blanket fort over in the corner, dude. I've got Red Bull to keep me up all night. Like, this is just going to be a lock-in. Do you ever have a lock-in?
I did, actually. I went to a few good church lock-ins in my day, Brian.
Yeah,
you're not the only one.
That's what Alabama was all about, them church lock-ins.
I don't know why they lock you in. I don't know what
they were awful.
The deal is.
They were terrible. Yeah,
it's,
so you can't have sex outside in the graveyard.
Stay up all night, but no sex. That's
of course not. You're at church, dude. Come on.
Eek. Oh, boy. So we've got some good games tonight. We've got, what do we have? We've got two best of ones to get things started. We've got TongFu versus LGD.CDEC first up. And then coming up after this, it'll be LV versus LAI. We have a 2-hour break, and then we come back for 3 games of Star Ladder SEA. So all over the place tonight. But TongFu, LGD.CDEC, I'll be honest, man, I have not been casting too much Chinese Dota. That's been the LDZ realm.
Dude, I've been doing businessy stuff lately. So I've been asleep during this time. I've been going to bed at 11 o'clock, waking up at 6, hitting the gym.
Mr. Businessman,
living like a real
here.
person. And who wants to be a real person? Let's watch some Chinese Dota.
Not me, yeah. So I guess safe to say TongFu are the decent favorites coming into this one. LGD.CDEC, it's always a bummer that they always get that rap as the secondary LGD squad, and they tend to they remind me of Myth Trust a little bit.
They're the tertiary LGD squad now, buddy.
But they remind me of Myth Trust, where they tend to put up really good games, even though if you look at their raw record, they don't secure the win as often as you'd like.
It's because maybe he's a talented player. He was playing for the main squad for LGD for a solid month or so, and then he got kicked to make room for Icy, and then who was then kicked to make room for Lin. But he's a good player. He's stayed with LGD.
Am I silly, or the bets are 66% in favor of CDEC?
Because LGD.CDEC has a better history as a team.
Okay.
During this tournament, though, if I'm correct, TongFu went 3-0 in their group, while LGD went 1-2 in their group.
Okay.
So recent history would suggest that TongFu is performing better as of late. But LGD, a little bit better names. I would say Kabu's a beast, man. Kabu's a good player on the same level as maybe, I think, in terms of just raw skill. So I think it's a pretty fair matchup with TongFu maybe having a bit more momentum coming into the matchup.
Yeah, definitely. And initial picks looking fairly straightforward, nothing too surprising. Bat Rider and the Skywrath Mage banned out from LGD, Death Prophet and Lycan, a bunch of those pushing heroes.
Man.
TongFu get Viper and Doom to get things started, and LGD will find Razor and the Faceless Void.
This is probably, with throwing the Witch Doctor out, the most standard draft I've seen.
Yeah.
In a month. It is the last 2 months in
a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
Right there, yeah. No, it's true. We've got these, basically these 8 heroes, if you will. The first 2 bans on each side, the first 2 picks. Are pretty much Brewmaster you could mix in there maybe in place of the Viper. But
Witch Doctor's strong in these lineups too.
Yeah.
Strong team fight, a lot of pushability with his heal.
I feel like he's even underutilized a little bit, at least in the games I've been covering.
He's hard to play.
You don't see him picked up that often. But
he's one of those heroes that's really easy to just pick up and play, but really hard to play really, really well.
Yeah. With the Faceless Void, though, it's easier than scenarios without the Void. That's you know.
That's an old school. That's an old Kai P strat. They used to pick Faceless Void Witch Doctor a year ago. That was some fun Dota to watch.
Yeah, I like Witch Doctor. He's a fun hero. I think his heal.
You've heard me screaming, "Look at it go!"
Yeah, look at it go. Yeah,
one of my favorite heroes.
Very satisfying hero to play as well. Murano will get banned out by LGD.CDEC, another good utility. So a lot of supports that she could pair nicely with. How's Rasta in the Chinese scene? Because he's all the rage in SEA and in Europe.
Well,
the games
Rasta really started off in the Eastern scene. Back about 2-3 months before TI, probably when I first moved here. Actually, it was 9 months ago that I moved here, but then we really started getting into Dota 7 or 8 months ago. It was all Rasta AA. You did nothing but see Rasta AA being picked. So I think
the devil AA is going to get banned out here.
I feel like Rasta really took off in Eastern scene and maybe kind of dove a bit once Western teams started picking him up, and now it's kind of leveled off a bit. He's still a strong hero. It's just it depends on your lineup.
Yeah, he's just solid all around, and he gives you you can have just normal good team fighting lineup, and then all of a sudden, hey, you've got this great ability to knock down some towers. And
he's one of those heroes that's good because he's kind of really, really strong at one part of the game, which is pushing, but he can also roam early. And that's where a lot of supports kind of have fallen off. Like, Visage is really good at killing enemy heroes. You know, what he can't do well, roam that good. Yeah. He's okay at roaming. Like,
he's kind of a slow poke.
But it's not great.
He's really good in tri-lanes. Yeah. Almost too good in tri-lanes. And every time someone sees him,
dying syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. You see a Visage, and it's like, well, let's dodge that tri-lane, boys, because we do not want to deal with that. Soul Assumption's just too good.
So Rasta has one of those abilities that he can be really, really good at something as a support and still be useful in the lane and be able to roam and make stuff happen.
Yeah. Well, Lion has a similar kind of function to the Rasta.
He's really good at killing heroes.
Amazing Hex, a little bit bursty, of course. It's all about trade-offs. No pushing power there, but huge burst potential, and does do pretty well against illusions if that ends up being something they'll have to deal with. So, pretty solid opening from TongFu. Should go nicely with the Doom. And the Viper, very flexible. You know, you can put Doom in pretty much any lane, and Viper, kind of the same deal. But
5 seconds.
I don't know. What a ridiculous hero right now, though. Doom is probably because the thing is, I feel like Doom is not like one of the other, like a Lycan in terms of strength, where it's almost like overbearing how strong he is at one part of the game. It's just how good Doom can just do everything.
Yeah.
Is what's
he's the one hero, I think, of all the pros I've talked to, TI and everything else, if there's one hero that they all hate and wish wasn't in the game, it is Doom, by far.
Because he can do everything, and at the end of the game, he still has Doom.
Yeah. He's super tanky. He can run away super fast. He has the versatility of grabbing all the different creeps. You can get a free Scotty if you get the little frost attack. You can get a hoof stomp and pretend to be Centaur. You're like 5 heroes in one. And then you have the only ability that stops you from doing anything.
He can play just about any position 1 through 4. You can't really play a 5 position Doom.
No, that's not so
But he can play every other position.
I mean, I guess he could. It's just a waste of his potential. It's kind of silly. There's no real point.
If you play a Doom with like no items, brown boots and wards, and like a mech, like
I don't know what you're doing.
You kind of
Yeah, but he can still sit any of the lanes, and he can go in the jungle and play that position 4. But
you kill that priest camp and you heal.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it's all about.
Aura.
Just spamming the heal.
It's so good. You just sit there and you dance.
Yeah. TongFu pick up.
He's like a bard. That's what you do. you get the big wildkin, the tornado, and you do the tornado, and you don't actually put it on anything. You just dance.
Have the dance party.
You just dance.
Well, they've got Sand King, so they could actually commence the dance party in the jungle. Get some sandstorm action. Get some
Doom.
Just
dance party.
Just getting down to the rave music. Sand King, a good pick here, though. It synergizes well with what TongFu have. Some more setup. He'll be able to make use of the jungle, as Doom will probably take more of a farming role. And really a good deny pick. We've seen how well Sand King can pair with the Faceless Void, Epicenter inside the Chrono.
And the Rubik pick, I almost called it. I almost called it before the game because I did research, and Rubik's their most picked hero.
Oh, well, that's good.
And just pick it whenever. It doesn't matter.
Good here. There's a lot of good spells to steal in this one.
Well, I mean, yeah. He's in this meta, it's all about your ultimates.
Yeah.
There's all these ultimates that go through BKB that are good on heroes. Like Doom goes through BKB. Viper ult goes through BKB. Chronosphere goes through BKB.
Yep.
Enigma's Black Hole goes through BKB. Razor's the Storm is going to hurt you through BKB. So that's like all the heroes that are really strong right now, their ultimates go through BKBs, except for like Skywrath. That's about it. Bat Riders goes through.
Yeah.
Prophets goes through. Lycans is a different thing, but it's still good.
Razors goes
through. He doesn't care about BKB, right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
So Rubik can steal those big ults. So he's a good pick in this meta.
And I like Rubik when you're up against a Viper, because all things equal, you know you can always just spell steal Viper and get yourself a Viper Strike, and that's not so bad. There's nothing you can do to cover it up. So even if you can't find the Doom or your Epicenter or whatever else is that you want, you do have a big slow that you can pick up. But LGD have a pretty well-rounded draft here as well. They've got a lot of pushing power, and it'll probably be a carry Void here, more of a position 1 role with the off-lane Prophet.
It'll probably maybe on the Razor mid.
Yeah, so they'll just need their other support, and Rasta's still a good option here.
There's not really a whole lot of heroes you want to put up against Viper mid that aren't Razor. It's like an arms race with the mid lane now. It's like, what annoying-ass tanky hero that you can't heal am I going to put in mid?
The mid lane's in a weird... I feel like bottle crowing is almost too powerful right now, where it's just like...
It's powerful, and then you put all these tanky heroes that can't die.
Yeah, it's kind of just it's turned into this odd matchup.
Unless you go Queen of Pain.
All right, TongFu. Switching it up, so...
All right. I feel like this might be like a safe lane solo. No, I don't know.
I think this is more like an off-lane Doom, Viper in a safe lane, and Quap in the mid. That would be my best guess. Quap is fabulous against Razor. You just blink away from Static Link. Razor's probably not even going to level it up. You force him to go Plasma Field, and then that takes away a lot of his lane dominance power. So I think that's probably the thought process behind the pick.
I mean, yeah, it's a decent lane counter, but I don't know. I don't care for Quap very much. I just feel like she doesn't do anything.
I would agree that I don't know that she does enough. And speaking of heroes that don't do enough, Leshrac.
Oh no!
I love
doesn't do enough. I love Leshrac.
These long cast points, he's just flipping his hands up in the air trying to figure out what to do.
He just dies doing them.
Okay, you're right. He does everything. He just sucks it. He doesn't.
Just dies.
He
either takes too long to do
it, man.
He takes too long to do it, and he just gets caught out while he's still like trying to summon his stuff, or he's just so squishy.
You know who's been playing a really mean Lesh recently, though? Fluff and stuff.
Yeah, Fluff's
I've seen him play a few, the past, like, 2 days of Starladder NA. He's played Lesh both days.
Fluff's just, like, individual skill and playmaking ability on support, I feel like, has always been underrated.
Yeah, but...
So Lesh is a good hero for that.
Yeah, so I'm coming around. I mean, I really like Lesh. I think he brings a lot to the table, but it's a tough life, and I don't know.
It's very hit or miss.
Stats, man. What is his like average? What is his like win rate right now?
We can look at his win rate right now.
I feel like he might be on the up and up, like closer to 50-50. I don't think he's in like the total dumpster of like 35 to 40 or something, but that's pure conjecture.
Since TI, he is 17-12. That's only 29 games.
Okay, that's
over
a
the
small
course
sample, but
over the course of 6.81, he's 64-52, 55%, not bad.
Okay, that's solid.
He's dying 5.5 times a game.
Well, I'm not surprised to hear that, but. There is some decent setup here, though. That's the big thing with Lesh. You really need to pair him with another support that can set up for his stun, and Rubik can certainly achieve that. So this is a pretty good roaming duo, and I reckon they'll be able to set up some kills about the map. No Rasta this game, though. We spent like 3 to 5 minutes in that draft just going off about Lesh and about Rasta. And
I just don't think these teams like Rasta very much.
Well, apparently not. He was
looking at
totally
their picks.
ignored.
I don't think they picked it very much.
Yeah. Well, we'll be stuck in a pause to get things started. I am curious about these dire lanes, though, exactly how they'll set it up. The safe lane Viper. How do you feel about safe lane Viper, Brian? Are you digging on those vibes?
I think it's okay. The question is just like, it's just you're going to be going up against an offlane Faceless Void. You're probably not going to be able to kill him. You're going to farm okay, but like one of the big benefits about Viper is being able to.
No, it'll be an offlane Prophet. It's going to be safe.
Oh, it will be an offlane Prophet. You're right. I forget about the Prophet. Dude, I played 3 games of Dota today and I had 3 Nature's Prophets and they all went in the jungle.
Yummy. Absolutely.
Just straight
the
up.
thing I hate the most in pub games. That and LC in the jungle. The two of them. I don't know why they put her in the jungle. She's so good in lane.
I didn't have a Cliff Jungler, thank God.
Oh, well.
We have another. This game is double legit. Double official.
Oh, boy. Cliff jungling, that's my Netflix build. That's what I do when I'm really in the zone to some Netflix on the other monitor. You just
watch. I want to just throw up some Rick and Morty and do some Cliff jungling.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, man. I'm just saying. Oh God. Are they?
Hearthstone. Okay. This is not a boots first sinking. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the Treant sinking build. No regen. No.
Wow. Yeah, just straight boots. Looks like he shared.
He's like going to get first blood bottom or something. I don't know.
Okay. So Doom will head to the off lane, and he went boots first. That's pretty standard stuff for him in the off. Puts down an observer, getting him a little vision here. Very interesting ward placement. Normally you'll see it in this spot, so it gets vision at the bottom rune and gives you this kind of corridor spot, but hoping it doesn't get countered in this more atypical positioning, and they will get rune control vision with this top one. So. Right. They've got their bases covered. LGD.CDEC will do a little bit of an invade here.
They're really standard invade into that camp, right, and to put down that ward. Especially when you're dealing with the sinking, you don't want to be able to. This is the safest and also a big camp. This one here.
Oh yeah, this one.
And so you don't want him to be able to stack that and farm it up early. So that's usually the best one to invade and block.
Yeah, definitely. Sand King will be working the jungle, and as always, Doom will be retreating into the jungle when he loses lane control.
What's the point of where? Like, what do you think he's thinking here? By posting up here, where he's at? Did they think they were going to invade into the mid, or?
I don't know. Maybe just positioning himself so that he can contest this bottom rune.
That's 100% what it was.
Will be a haste, and red will pick up the red rune, head down bottom. So they will put Quat mid. That'll be U9, and Kaboo will be on the Lion, and that puts the Viper in the safe lane. So he'll be farming it up Radiant side. Pretty straightforward lanes here with the Prophet going up top. Maybe solo mid on the Razor, as you pointed out. Then they will do the safe lane try built around Mr. Faceless Void down here with your Rubik and your Lesh. They'll try to move in on Doom, but they won't have an easy time. Do they have any sentries between the two of them? Yes, 1 sentry on the Rubik, and I'll be surprised if they find this ward.
1 second, I have to update my mouse acceleration.
Brian's having mouse issues.
Dude, my mouse is so bad. I turned it up all the way, and it's still terrible. I don't know what's up with this
Condolences. Well, so Viper safe lane. He should find pretty good farm here against the Prophet, and the Sand King will hang out. It's a rough life for the Sand King in the initial levels of these boots. First, he really wants to find a kill, and you need basically level 3 confirmed before you can move into the jungle. Down bottom, we'll see Doom initiated on. The combo from Rubik and Lesh already utilized, and he does not have Scorched Earth. Just that first point in Devour. This could be your first blood. Lesh will find it. There you go. Wow. Q draws it, and Ponyboy gets that bonus gold. That'll get him off to a nice set of boots.
Huge for a greedy support like Leshrac. That is gigantic. He can get these boots. He can not feed. It'll be great.
Yeah.
He's happy.
He is very happy, and Doom just positioning himself a little bit too aggressively there. You really need that level 2 before you can start moving around like that. Scorched Earth is... We're talking about how Doom is so broken, and part of his tank ability is the movement speed of Scorched Earth. It's just a little sprint that you can pop to get away, and without it, you're no better off than anybody else.
He's having to just chill on this Devour, too, for a while.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate. Offlane Doom is...
They're going to dive him underneath the tower.
Yeah, again, they know he doesn't have Scorched Earth. He hasn't hit level 2 yet. Looking for the Split Earth. It won't be an easy one for the Lesh, but now the Void hops forward with Time Walk, finds a bash, and there you go. Lesh picks up the second kill of the game, and this Doom on the feed train already. That is not a good way to start off this match.
It is not. He barely got level 2. He's actually going to TP back to the tower, and I don't think they might go on him again. Okay, and the Split Earth misses.
Yeah. Yeah, he finds level 2, but the Scorched Earth is on cooldown, so they could actually put some pretty serious pressure on him if he's not careful.
There's a lot of kill potential actually with a Rubik and Leshrac. You can set up that stun relatively well, and it's a really good stun at level 1. The area is small, but it's a 2-second stun at all levels. So it's one of the better level 1 stuns in the game.
Yeah,
it's not quite as good as my patented roaming Dragon Knight 2.5-second stun at level 1.
yeah, about that.
Dude, it's good. Don't flame.
Mid lane, Razor is wrecking the Quap. I talked about how Queen of Pain is sort of regarded as a loose counter to Razor because he can't use Static Link, and it's true. He'll just skip it. He grabs Unstable Current, and that's the other problem, though. You can't really dagger him because Unstable Current is amazing.
And he's destroying the lane.
Yeah.
Look at the CS difference.
Oh, yeah. Plasma Field is nothing to scoff at. I mean, it's one of those things where, he doesn't get Static Link, but he levels that up primarily, and Quap is pretty squishy. She's not known for her huge hit points. Courier in some trouble. Prophet looking for it, but it'll get upgraded with 1 hit point to spare, and now he'll get initiated on by U9, and he'll have to run.
Just going to force her back to the fountain, so it's killing 1 bird with 1 stone, but it's still killing a bird, so at the end of the day, you come home with a bird.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. He walks right into red, and no teleport for the Prophet, so he'll just have to book it out.
I don't know.
Yeah, Doom has Scorched Earth, boots, U9's coming in. Yeah, this should be a dead Prophet unless Garter's here. Telekinesis back, little miscommunication. Probably could have pulled him right into the Lesh and secured a kill knowing the Scorched Earth is on cooldown. But that's okay. They get what they came for. They'll keep Prophet alive, and it will stay a 2-0 lead.
That is the problem with the Rubik Lesh combo, is that it is something you can set up with, but it's one of the more difficult. Because instead of it just being, hey, I'm going to stun this guy, and you stun on his body when he's stunned, it's, I need to pull him back to the specific location, and then you need to stun at this specific location. So it takes a little more time, and it can be, it's higher in regards to ease of execution than a more simple stun.
So down bottom, LGD.CDEC find the first tower kill of the game, and this is where Lesh really shines. When you get a big start like this, he has those 2 early points in the Edict, and there's nothing Doom can do to contest this. So they'll take out that tier 1 handily, force out a glyph as they move into the tier 2, and look at this, they'll use the Treant with that little M&M to pull the creep wave off the tower. Now Doom is forced forward to roll the dice and kind of hope he doesn't get initiated on here, and LGD.CDEC will be happy just to chip at the tower. They've got an Edict in 5 seconds. They don't even really have to commit to this now, but they might be able to. The siege creep in the back really helping them out. And now the dire creeps will come in, and this should pull the creeps off the tower. They'll keep it out of deny range, but this is some great push momentum, and they'll be very happy with that.
I think this is a good decision to go for the 2 points in Diabolic as well. We've seen Leshes kind of alternate between maxing Lightning Storm, maybe maxing Split Earth to get a higher radius on the stun. But I think at this point, you're already in kind of a snowbally lane. You want to be able to take down this tier 2 as soon as possible, and then start moving around the rest of the map to maybe invade the Sand King's jungle so his Blink Dagger gets even more delayed.
Yeah.
I think it's smart to just kind of get the win this lane and then move on somewhere else kind of build.
Yeah, I think Edict is really good when you have an advantage, as you mentioned, because that's when you can actually get up in the tower and they can't contest it. When you don't have that advantage, that's where Edict becomes, hey, let's pop Edict. Everybody just jump on him, and you can kind of bring him down before it gets too scary. But he'll find Arcane Boots already, just shy of the 6-minute mark. That's great news for him. Mid lane still going great for LGD.CDEC, 34 CS up on the Razor compared to the 22 of Quap. So U9 still struggling a little bit. Does have Boots coming out on the Courier here to join his Bottle and his Null Tally, but still Strug City for this this Queen of Pain. A full level behind the Razor. Look at that. He's well into 7, and she's just now 6 as she takes another bout of burst damage. She does find a double damage rune, though, which might help her out and find a couple of stray last hits. But here we go. Smoke from LGD. They'll make a rotation. Oh, is this a smoke from the Dire? No, they'll just hold the high ground, but looks like this 3v3 skirmish to break out here.
I love it when this happens.
Simultaneous movements, and they'll go right on to Maybe. He'll move down to the low ground, and Garter up top. They'll go right in onto the Sand King. He'll be the first to go down. Now even the Prophet joining the party. They'll catch U9 off to the side. Viper comes in. Hex out onto the Lesh. Does clean up him as well as Rubik. Viper strike onto Nature's Prophet. He'll try to TP home, but it won't happen. And it will end as a 2-for-3 exchange. Queen of Pain got finished off, but they will lose 3 to make it happen. And not quite the fight that LGD.CDEC were hoping for, but
it kind of comes out even because at the end of the day, TongFu committed 1 extra hero to the fight. LGD was able to keep their Void bottom farming. So they committed 1 less hero, gave up 1 more kill. So it goes back and forth.
And now Void will push into this tower up top, and he should be able to finish this off unless they'll do this. They'll TP in. Doom uses the ultimate. Lesh connects with a beautiful Split Earth on 2, stops Kaboo dead in his tracks. Even has that value point in Lightning Storm for that little bit of slow, and Void will survive with plenty of hit points to spare.
This is the Lesh build. This is the one I like. I like the value point in Storm. I've seen a lot of people leveling up, and I just don't understand it from a support's point of view while you would level up Lightning Storm.
It's
cost-efficient damage, but the slow is just, I think, its strongest point, and it's max slow at every level. So
yeah, the slow doesn't scale. It's just the jumps and the damage, but you can do a lot of damage output with this because it's only on a 4-second cooldown, but it just becomes very mana-intensive. So to really have that huge DPS, you need some farm, and I guess with these early Arcane Boots, that does make his life a little easier. But first Doom rendered unsuccessful, does secure a tower deny, so I guess it does something, but no kill onto the Void, and he does get that first Midas off with plenty of time to spare. Number 2 on net worth, just nipping at the heels of the Razor, which of course is great news for LGD.CDEC, and they are holding on to a solid 4,000 gold lead out of the gate. Experience graph is zeroed out, but they're off to a nice gold edge early on.
That was largely due to that fight we saw mid.
Yeah, and the two tower advantage.
That's true.
But now Void will back up. He moved into the jungle, and he'll actually just book it straight back to the base, gives Lesh a little bit of time to farm in lane. Prophet, he just now hits level 6, so finds the ultimate, and he'll be going for this more of a right-click style build with 2 null tallies already. We'll see if he moves into a blade mail.
Oh, yeah. Have we seen this in China?
I think it's all the rage everywhere. It started in Europe, and it just spread like wildfire.
But have we seen Chinese Nature's Prophets do it? I haven't, but I have been watching it.
I think so. I think Blaze was telling me that it's literally everywhere now. Every region, there's prophets going for
I think it's a good build. It's 32 damage. Blade Mail gives you 32 damage as an intelligence hero.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings.
It's so much.
I'm actually not totally sold on it.
I like it. It's fun. It's clowny. It's Nature's Prophets building Blade Mail.
I would say it's fun and clowny. I think that's appropriate.
That's
I don't know that that's
for liking something in Dota. If it's fun, it's clowny. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know how effective it is, but we'll see here. We'll hold that thought as Void comes out with the Chronosphere, connects onto the Viper, but ends up wanting to go for the Lion. Viper Strike comes right out onto the Faceless Void as Doom comes in, joining the party, as with the Sand King. Void goes down first. Doom throws the ulti onto Lesh, and it's a 2-for-0 the other way. TongFu with a big rotation, but they pick up 2 kills.
Very aggressive, using the Chronosphere behind the tower. Not really knowing where the other team was when he went in. He immediately regretted his decision and tried to TP out, but the Hex came in.
Well, you could tell he kind of stuttered a little bit before he threw it out on, do I want to burn this just on the Viper? And really wanted to catch the Lion, and that hesitation kind of cost him.
He even caught the Viper and was like, I can't get him, and tried to go for the Lion that was outside of the Chronosphere.
Yeah, and this is also just not the time Void wants to be fighting. He was on Brown Boots Midas with a poor man's shield there, and that's... I mean, sure, he'll pick up his power treads here, but this is farming time, man. You got to at least grab your Mask of Madness before you start moving around trying to grab solo kills that way.
I feel like they thought that they were in the lead, and they just wanted to keep pressuring the fact that they had a lead, and the execution hasn't been there for them, unfortunately. But I think it's still anyone's game at this point. TongFu's been able to roar back with some smart kills.
So.
Well, it's only 10 minutes in
4 to 5, 10 minutes in, definitely anyone's game for the taking.
I mean, I wasn't saying that was the most, contemplative thing I've ever said. Just stating a fact.
Sorry. I know it is a true fact. I can't deny that.
I know I often say things that just blow your mind. But that's not always what I'm going for, Andrew.
Yeah, we're all guilty, Brian, but I can't help but poke. It's easier to poke fun at people when they're sitting next to you. I can't poke the same fun at Blaze when he's sitting across the globe because he just goes silent, and then
instead of flaming the teams, we'll flame each other. It'll be great.
You have that moment of wondering, did I really hurt his feelings? Here I know I didn't hurt your feelings.
Dude, it's hard to hurt my feelings.
Well, Razor will pick up a nice early mech, so there's something great going for LGD.CDEC, and if they do want to take some early skirmishes, they will have that tool. And Void will move into the jungle, but here's the big problem. They haven't done anything to slow down this Sand King, and he's had all this time in the jungle. He'll find an 11.5-minute Blink Dagger. Not the best timing, but still pretty solid, and he'll be able to control some tempos here. Harsh in the mellows of LGD.CDEC,
right. The fact that they didn't lose all of these mid-game engagements and he was able to make stuff happen, he's got 3 assists already before the Blink Dagger is good. It's kind of best-case scenario for a jungle Sand King like this.
Yeah. So, momentum slowing down a little bit. Viper working on his mech. He has the 2 core pieces and about halfway to the recipe, a little more so. And
Quap is going to go for.
Yeah, it looks like, what's that Robe of the Magi going to be? I wonder if she's just going to go into drums. That seems a little funky, but maybe...
I almost said
maybe an orchid.
Oh, it's probably going to be an orchid. Yeah.
Just an orchid rush on the Quap?
I guess.
Something.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
it gives her a lot of kill potential, but she's just so squishy with that. Even with power turns and a null tally, it's a very squishy build.
Why don't you go 3 null tallies and a blade mail?
You know,
10 plus damage, 32 damage.
I have not seen that on a Quap, but it could work. It could work.
I think it's less good.
Yeah.
She doesn't care nearly as much about the right-click damage.
I think the Orchid is an okay choice. It just makes her positioning that much more important because she gets caught in a chrono and doesn't get to use the Orchid. That's where you'd be like, kind of squishy. But if she gets the jump on Void the other way around and uses that Orchid aggressively, then that's a good shape. And that's a totally whiffed chrono. Oh, no. Sand King off to the side trying to channel the ultimate. He'll take a Split Earth. That'll interrupt it. And they'll bring down the Lesh with a Finger of Death. Now Doom comes out onto the Faceless Void. The ulti on 2. In comes the mech from Razor. That'll save his good buddy there, but loses the Sand King and the Lion. Finds a couple of recovery kills, trying to bring down the Quap. She'll be able to blink over the tree line, and it will be closer to even exchange.
Maybe going back in.
And, I don't know. Maybe he's actually got a haste rune, so he'll be okay for now. But now Quap joining the party. He'll be able to make it out, but close call. And does find a couple recovery kills, but that Chronosphere, man, you gotta be a little better than that. There's really... That was not great. I don't know what the right word is for that one, but
not great.
Poopy is what comes to mind. That was terrible.
We're supposed to not flame the team. We're supposed to flame each other.
Yeah, well, I mean that sometimes you gotta flame a little bit. I mean that was
objectively bad.
Yeah. So, eek.
So, TongFu team fighting well. I don't know whether to call it good execution or decent execution in the face of bad execution, but
just good movement. You can every time they commit to a fight, they really commit, and that's the second time now. You saw the Void again. He kind of stuttered, delayed for a second, and if he had just gone for the chrono right away, I think he might have connected. But he saw 2, and he's like, I'm not sure if it's going to connect on both, and he kind of waited, and then they spread out, and that little window was enough to totally miss both.
This is why I'm not sure about the Orchid pickup on Quap, because everyone is, for both teams, is moving. They're using the buddy system, man. There's not a whole lot of heroes going alone anymore. So she might have a hard time finding pickoffs. And even if she does find a pickup on a Razor, like I don't think she's going to be able to kill a Razor with a Blink Orchid unless her ult's off cooldown.
Well, yeah, the Razor is not the best example, perhaps. But I think it's more sort of looking at the initiation onto the Void. Like if they can jump on Void, grab him, silence him before he can get the chrono, maybe make some space for Doom to follow up.
I guess it's more for the silence for the Void. But that's, I mean, when the other hero has a pseudo blink, it's hard to get off.
Yeah, I mean, Razor's just not a great silence target in general. Most of the time, he'll come to the fight with Eye of the Storm on. He'll look to use the static link pretty early on in the engagement if possible. Right. And if you silence him after he has those 2 abilities online, then you might as well just not even silence.
I'm just thinking of the Orchid as like a pickoff item, and I'm not seeing where she's going to get the pickoffs.
Yes, that's where I would tend to agree. And it is a bit of a dice roll. Maybe she's looking for some solo kills on the Rubik and the Lesh. I mean, she certainly has the burst potential that way.
That's true.
And both of them are going very glass cannon-y builds. Maybe not the right word, but arcane boots, no stats items whatsoever. So Once that Orchid comes out, the two supports will be very susceptible.
The double Arcanes is a very interesting decision even. So they're really all about thinking they're going to be grouping and pushing a lot, is what I think here.
Yeah. Well, Viper is now level 11, as we saw in that last fight, has his mech complete. Lion, just Arcane Boots on him, probably pulling up for a Blink Dagger. Sand King with no real item progression following his Blink. Also, important to note, could have been a really devastating fight for LGD.CDEC had Sand King been able to channel his ultimate. He was pretty close to getting it off, and Lush interrupted him with a Split Earth when he was off to the side there. But if the initiation is the other way and Sand King gets a big epi, just imagine how that team fight would have been. And Doom will probably be pulling up for a Blink Dagger. He's got his drums and 1,800 gold, so not too far off that long-range initiation tool. Glancing at the gold graph, still LGD.CDEC with about 1,000 in the lead, but experience has now moved the way of good old TongFu.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
because our friend Doom on red over here is still struggling to catch up. He's got 46 CS at 16 minutes. Not the best. He's just sitting on his tranks and his drum.
Yep. And oh, wow, Void's going to move into an Aghanim Scepter. He grabs himself the point booster. I'm a little surprised to see that here. Usually, I think this is more... There's two key things to the Ag Scepter. One, it's great when you have a huge wombo combo to dump into the Chrono. You know, you got your Invoker, Skyrath, Witch Doctor, some of those heroes we saw banned out. Or you can just get it really fast. If you're just free farming away and you can grab it first item super quick. He's still within that time frame where it'll be useful, but... He's the position 1, and I feel like if he goes Ags, who's the one doing the damage? And
they're actually going to have to depend on the Lesh.
Oh, he dooms a Razor Illusion off to the side.
No.
Oh, no. Sand King will get picked off in very awkward positioning from TongFu here. Now the ultimate comes out from the Place's Void. They'll catch the Doom, and he'll be in some trouble. Up on the high ground, Nature's Prophet.
A bit of a...
Whoa, way too far forward.
That was an ROTK TP.
Yeah, that was very bold. And now they'll find the Viper as well. Time walk forward. He gets slowed up, and that's a huge streak. Ended 600 gold almost going the way of Razor. So LGD.CDEC with a big fight there, but sort of more a series of misplays from TongFu than huge plays from LGD. Awkward positioning from the Sand King, but dooming the illusion. That's the big one right there. And LGD will get Tier 1 tower.
Our boy over here, 333, he thought he was a little more invulnerable than he thought with his blade mail. Flicking into 3 enemy heroes separated by a chronosphere.
I mean, he just didn't need to TP so far forward.
I mean, his idea was to go in and then pop his blade mail and make, like, zone off the rest of the team. Yeah. But, and to be fair, he kind of did his job because he gave up a kill and then they were able to chase down the Viper afterwards, but I think that would have happened anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean.
It's one of those interesting plays. Yeah. I can see what he was thinking, basically.
Yes,
and things just didn't evolve the way he thought that they would.
Yeah. So LGD.CDEC now with a decent gold lead. They'll swing way back in their favor. Also find the experience graph coming back into their favor as well. They will group up in the top lane, perhaps looking to pressure this Tier 1 tower, but Viper comes to its defense. Razor, with the Ogre Club, could be working towards a BKB or an Aghanim Scepter. What's sitting on the courier here? That will be his full BKB. So there you go. Magic Immunity already complete for the Razor. And his farm is just ridiculous.
That's smart against the Quap and the Lion and the Sand King. I think.
We're only 19 minutes in. This guy is pretty damn farmed. He's about to break 9,000 net worth.
Player.
That's pretty solid.
We talked about the solid players before we got in. That was Kabu and Maybe, right? The two solid players have been around for a while. Really, the anchors of these two teams are kind of less known mid-tier Chinese teams, and they've both played really well this game. Maybe's 4-0, been farming well, fighting well as he gets doomed at the top lane.
Yeah, Sand King going in deep as well, but Rubik steals the stun. They'll be able to turn it around onto the Sand King. Void's there with the Chronosphere. Maybe survives, and now a lot of damage coming out onto TongFu. Kabu will be the target of choice. They will have enough to bring him down. Quap will burn the ultimate, finishes off the Nature's Prophet, but a huge Split Earth from the Lesh. Now the mech from the Razor as he survives the doom. It's going to be a full team wipe! Oh no! Razor gets a little recovery kill as he brings down the Lesh before he falls, but a 3 for 5 exchange, and the Doom target lives once more. Razor didn't even have to use his BKB there.
Nope.
Oh, boy.
He was kind of fashionably late to the party, came in, got a couple of assists, and won the fight. I really thought LGD was going to lose that because of how low Rubik and Lesh were, and they were the last ones fighting, but maybe came in the right second.
Good steal from the Rubik as well. He got the Bro Strike, and Sand King he had the Blink Dagger, but he hasn't been able to do anything with it. He's 0-4-7, so I guess he has picked up some assists, but it seems like he's just constantly either way too far forward relative to his team, or just ends up in these situations where it's sort of a suicide mission, as we saw.
Yeah, it's okay. He's doing it. He's living his life, man. He's just going for these plays.
Yeah, sometimes I guess you gotta live.
Dota, you only live multiple times in an evening.
Thank you so much.
Well, Queen of Pain will complete her Orchid. She actually had to complete before that fight. It was coming out on the Courier, but she TP'd up top, and Courier had to take an odd path, and then she got picked off. Still, didn't set her back in terms of economy all that much, so that is good news, but it's one of those kind of items where it's coming out just a little bit too late.
Item.
Yeah,
like
snowball-y in 20 minutes for that being your first item. You kind of want to be balling already.
You're not going to be able to silence, like, the hero you want to silence in almost all these fights is the Void, but he's just going to blink in and chrono before you even get a chance to do that unless you're the one forcing the fight. And maybe that's what they want to do. Maybe they want to be the ones catching the other team off guard with their Sand King blink, and
nice hex from
Doom has a blink as well, so
yeah.
Maybe this is what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to engage, not be engaged upon. So,
well, that's definitely what they want to do if they can find the Void. Orchid and the Doom ulti use, so they'll find a kill down there. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, maybe comes in, static link onto the Viper, steals all of his damage. Some huge right clicks on the Razor right now, and they will just take it to pressure this tower. Treants coming in, they'll trade a tier 2 for a tier 1. They might even be able to go back down and defend. They've got a couple of TP scrolls, and they've already used their glyph. They will TP in, and it will be a tower exchange, but now can they get any recovery kills on the retreat? Rubik's there with the telekinesis on the Sand King to lock him in place. Doom caught inside of the Sprout, and it will be at least a 2-for-0 exchange. Quap will blink into the tree line, and will TP to safety. But LGD.CDEC with a great trade. Tier 2 for tier 1 trade. And 2 heroes to boot.
Right. Well, LGD's just executing now. At the mid game, they whiffed a couple Chronospheres, made some odd engagement decisions, but now they're making trades. They're being on the map where they're supposed to be, farming it more efficiently as a whole, and they have a Razor. So that's hard. Life is hard when you're going up against a Razor, man.
Yeah, Prophet will just move into a Necronomicon, so even more pushing power will come out. And Razor with 3,300 gold. I have to imagine an Ags will be his next choice. Faceless Void, speaking of Ags, he's grabbed his first big item, and that Handamitis is still continuing to do work for him. He is number 3 on net worth overall, so that Chrono on the short cooldown, and now they will smoke up in the mid and look for some initiation as they move through the dire jungle.
I think the idea is just that since these supports did so well early and he wasn't doing so well, they were worried about him building straight damage items. Because they were afraid that even if he built straight damage items, he still wouldn't be that effective. They're really planning on their supports to, I think, do a little more damage than they thought. Lesh is getting a lot more levels than a Lesh normally does in these fights.
Yeah, and
he's maxed his Lightning Storm now.
An interesting build, though. He's sort of just going for this hybrid, like throwing a point in every each way.
Well, he's maxing Lightning Storm where it's now good to max Lightning Storm because they're doing a lot of fighting. Like we said before, the Void went for a Aghanim Scepter, so he needs a lot of damage in an AoE inside that Chronosphere.
I like the Lightning Primary. It's interesting to see more like the 3-3-4. Usually you'll prioritize either the Split Earth or the Edict based on whether you're stunning more, whether you're pushing down towers.
It's quite possible no one's even leveled it like that before in a competitive match because it's so rare.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd way to do it, but it's working for him. So now LGD.CDEC just group up about the top tier 2, the last remaining outer tower for TongFu. Initiation off to the side, onto the Rubik. Will get caught in the finger of death to bring him down, but Void's there with a Chrono on 2. Quap almost walks into it, but will
Xiaolu does walk into it, though.
Sand King falls, and now Viper, what can he do? Red taking a lot of damage, gets off the Doom, but still destined to fall. Razor's already popped everything, so really not your best Doom target here. The Lion goes off down to the side, or goes down off to the side, rather, and forces the Viper to TP home. U9 should be able to blink to safety. But yeah, that's just not the target you want to Doom. He didn't use his mech, but he's already BKB'd, already used Eye of the Storm. That's half the Razor's arsenal.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Xiaolu, they lost a lot of potential damage output in that fight because Xiaolu thought he could get into range to get a Viper Strike off on the Void in the Chrono to reduce that attack speed, but he was not able to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And got caught in the Chrono instead. It's really hard when you see a Chrono like that and you think you can get in range.
Yeah.
And then
he was definitely right on the edge.
You're right there, and then caught in time.
Yeah.
I hate it when I get caught in time.
Yeah, me too. 4 staff now out on the Lesh to go with the Urn. He's hit level 11. Decision. And they also got a tower out of it. So now 12,000 gold, about 7,500 experience. Razor is just, look at this net worth. Now about at 14,000.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. They can't bring him down. He's 8-0-6, by the way.
Yeah, maybe what a player. We talked about it beforehand. Good guy, good player, talented guy. LGD actually wanted to build a team around Maybe. And if if Molly is to be believed, and I'm certain he is because he usually has this type of information, he didn't want to leave his friends behind on LGD.CDEC.
Oh, that's
He could have played with DDC and some of these LGD players that they had signed on, and so take down.
The Sand King. He is in no man's land. He has no TP, nowhere to go, and see you later, Scorpion.
But instead of joining up with these other LGD team, that maybe thought he owed it to these players that he'd been practicing with to stick with them and keep going.
That's a really nice story.
It's a nice story. I hope they do well.
What a stand-up.
What a stand-up gentleman. And so the teams that he was going to play with ended up being part of that LV team.
Oh, okay.
It's really hard. If I was a Chinese player and I was given the chance to play with DDC, one of the more storied support players in Chinese Dota history, I would
be very tempted.
Have a hard time turning that down.
Yeah, Lesh probably moving into a Bloodstone here, grabs that point booster, and now the Ags will be delivered to good old Razor. They TP up top and will quell the push from TongFu as they sound the retreat. Nature's Prophet TPing forward, trying to find the right opening, finds it on the Doom, and he will just TP home. No way to interrupt it.
Oh,
no! The Chronos. At least he has the Ags
it's
now.
It's worth that, okay?
Yeah,
that looks really, really bad, but that is worth it.
Yeah,
right
on the
Ag and Scepter. It's a 50-second, like 60-second cooldown.
No,
it's okay.
It's not a at this point. It's not a big deal.
It's worth it.
It's more just that. Oh, poor Void. That was a really close call though. Half a second earlier, and that would have been interrupted. So
right.
A noble effort.
Right. I think that was okay.
Oh, poor fella though.
Now if he does another team fight and misses him, and then the rest of his team gets cleaned up because of it, like it happened earlier, that's a little bit more rough. But I think that was okay.
Prophet now has his level 3 Necronomicon, so a little more utility for LGD.CDEC. How's the item progression for TongFu in general? Looks like U9 will now just go into a Black King Bar on the Quap. Also finds level 16, so that's good news for her damage output. Doom has picked up his Blink quite a while ago and now looking for a BKB of its own. Sand King, similar story, sitting on that Ogre Club. Viper actually has a BKB now, and we'll start looking towards an Aghanim Scepter with that point booster. Lion pulling up for that Blink, and we'll actually find it just now as Creep shove into the base. So there are still some core items coming out on the Dire side, and this next team fight will be a pretty big one. But I guess you still need a BKB to deal with the magic damage from LGD, but they have tools to cut through it. Your Chronosphere and your Eye of the Storm, the two big ones. And
I feel like BKB doesn't do
a lot of right clicks, and they are prioritizing it quite a bit. And all things equal, they will end up with 4 bouts of magic immunity as LGD.CDEC claimed the first Roshan here just shy of the 30-minute mark.
I've always been a bit skeptical of the early first, second item BKBs on your mobile ganking in heroes like your Quaps and your Storms, and it's really common. And really, really talented players like Mushi will go for really early BKBs on his Quaps and Storms. But I've just never really understood the thought process. I'll have to. Well, I want to have a conversation with Mushi. And
I know for Storm Spirit, that is usually not the way you want to go. You want to rush that.
It's not how you want to go, but some players like it.
Some games you're kind of forced into it. We'll see Razor with double runes, invisibility, and double damage. They go right in onto Quap. They'll have the damage to bring her down before this fight even breaks out. Oh boy, yeah, you're exactly right. And they have the stuns to just lock her down, and nothing the Quap could do.
They've got a Blink Dagger, 2 Force Staffs, a pseudo Blink on one of their heroes, and a global teleport.
Yeah,
it's hard to be a Quap in this game because it's hard to not be the one getting initiated upon.
Yeah.
So it's just a rough match for her to be in.
Faceless Void uses a Chrono, only connects on 1, but they catch the Doom. That is a big target. Sand King comes in with an Epicenter. Is enough to finish off Rubik as Finger of Death comes through. Doom will buy back as soon as he goes down. Kaboo caught inside of the Sprout. Will get clicked down, and now the Doom ulti used onto the Prophet. Doesn't actually get off his blade mail first. So that's something. Looks like he'll survive the onslaught. Razor in the front lines. He is the Aegis of the Immortal Carrier, still with his BKB at the ready. TongFu, they will be in a rough spot here. Quap coming up real soon. They should be able to hold their high ground, but this was costly. Doom had to buy back to make that happen and still didn't find a recovery kill out of it.
Not looking great for CDEC. I really like CDEC's, it's not looking great for TongFu. I really like CDEC's itemization this match. And I just don't think TongFu is going to be able to defend against these pushes now.
Quap, Orchid out onto the Faceless Void, but he has no Chrono coming up in 10 seconds, so it won't slow him down too much.
If that Void gets engaged upon, they have 2 Force Staffs to get him away. Yeah. If someone gets doomed before they get their stuff off, they'll just Force Staff him away, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, Razor just stands the high ground here. Actually uses his BKB, so they want to go in. There's that next Chrono coming out from Void. They'll go straight for the Quap. Nothing she can do to survive. Split Earth going through the Chrono for extra damage. Viper uses his BKB as they lose their Nature's Prophet off to the side. The Viper is just too much damage for him to handle. On the retreat, Kaboo connects with a stun onto the Faceless Void. And he
great two-hero
make
stun.
An escape. Sand King trying to continue forward. A stolen burrow strike from Garter. We'll be able to make it out. And Nature's Prophet, uses the ultimate to bring down the Lion. Nice buyback there with the Wrath of Nature.
It's just so nice to be able to have these types of items in your supports at 30 minutes into the game. Yeah. Blink and Force Up on Rubik. The Shrek has a Force Stack of his own, and the Ultimate Orb. Point Booster.
Look at this Razor.
Yeah.
Oh, we're 30 minutes in. Ags, Refresher, BKB, Mech,
maybe
and
Dota,
Aegis
man.
to boot. It's just ridiculous how effective he still hasn't died yet. 8-0 and 12. He didn't even burn the Aegis that fight, and he was just going man mode on the high ground. It's
Strength of the
pretty
hero
ridiculous.
Very, very, very. I was impressed with his play in LGD when they ended up letting him go. He just didn't mesh well, I think.
Yeah.
And LGD was smart enough to not get rid of him. They kept him around, and he's paying dividends for him now, I believe.
Yep. So, clears out the creep wave, and looks like LGD.CDEC want to end this one sooner rather than later. Prophet, fresh off his buyback, will TP in, and they'll just head straight forward. Most of the Dire ultimates have cooled down. Just that Finger of Death, still only level 1, so 160 seconds. That baby will be stuck on CD. But Void now coming in, he's got a Manta Style as his next item.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah, you don't see this one too frequently.
That's pretty rare.
I mean, just look at maybe right now. He's got the Aegis and not a care in the world. He goes straight for the high ground. They know there isn't a glyph, and this is a great timing window for LGD. Off to the side, there's a Chronosphere that comes out, goes onto the Sand King. We'll go onto the Quap now. Doom onto the Rubik of all heroes, and they'll just force staff him around. He will take the Finger to the face, and that's enough to secure the kill, but it will cost them their Doom, and this will probably be the last fight for TongFu. Buyback status looking pretty grim. They go right onto Xiao Lu. He goes down, and it's just the Lion left to defend. There are no buybacks available, and GG, well played. Not called a moment too soon.
Yep. Good game by LGD. TongFu looked like they had a bit of life in the mid-game where they executed some good fights, but at the end of the day, LGD just did a better job controlling the map, farming up efficiently, and then when it came time, when they really needed to execute, they could.
Yep. No, I think that that about sums it up. There were some interesting plays on both sides of the coin. A couple of whipped chronos, some pretty crazy Nature's Prophet TPs.
There was equal throwing on both sides in those mid-game exchanges. So yeah. I think that factor was probably a bit of a wash at the end of the day.
Yeah. But
there was some fun chronospheres and.
Yeah. So looking good for LGD.CDEC coming up next. What is it, Brian? We've got LV versus LAI. So should be a good one, and I think it's scheduled to start basically right after this. So we should have just a quick break, and then we'll be coming right back for our first bout of Sina Cup coverage tonight, and then Starladder SCA coming up after that. So I'm Zyori, this guy's K-Pop Toastus, and we'll be back after this break, y'all.